you could go do the next one. No, you have to stop and you have to treat that client like they are the only client you have right now on that last day. You have to.
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hey, everyone. Andy Milder's back here on the show. And if you missed it last week, we were talking about how running your company debt-free, how it impacts how you show up with your team, how you can be a better leader for your team when you don't have the weight of all that debt around your shoulders. And you're like, all right, well, sure, Josh. Yeah, I listened to it last week. That's great. But what does that mean for me? Well, this week, we're going to get much deeper into how running that debt-free company transforms your customer experience. How do you show up to your customers when you don't have all that debt? We talked about it a couple of weeks ago about this idea that when you show up to sales and you've got a lot of debt around your neck and you've got this weight, that sometimes you come across needy and desperate. I hate to tell you, I did it. I mean, I say all these things because I did all these things. And knowing it, being more aware of that now, how we show up as a company. And if we're running debt free, then we don't have as much. We still have debt. We still have expenses that are common for running any business, but we don't have that long-term debt that's constantly echoing in the chambers, if you will, like sitting back there being like that big old beast in the closet, where now you're like, you know what? I can show up to my customers different now too. So Andy, I can't wait to unpack this with you, and welcome back to the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. So today we're going to focus on learning how to run a debt-free business and how it impacts your customer experience, how no debt can influence your relationship with your customers. Because man, I'm telling you, I just had the blessing to be in Phoenix, speaking at the Bellegarde event out there, Bellegarde University. And one thing that I preach constantly is this idea that you should see less clients and go deeper with them, right? We're told in this world, this world of business ownership, specifically in contracting, that we have to see high volume, right? Because not everybody's gonna be profitable. Sometimes we lose on jobs, sometimes we gain. So we have to have tons of them. So by the end, the aggregate of the year is profitable. And I say bullshit to all of that. I say, look, slow it down,
right?
Spend more time with each customer, get to know them and build a relationship, not just a revenue stream. And then you build long-term referrals that come from that client. That's the goal, right? The goal is to be able to not just impact their lives and do a great job on their property, but do such a great job that they can't stop talking about you. You got a raving fan. That's the goal, right? But you can't do that at speed. You can't do that effectively at scale as well as you could if you could slow it down, see less people, go deeper in your relationships. And we're also going to talk about how to become more flexible and less stressed by running debt-free when it comes to the customer experience. Because you know what, Andy, I don't know about you, but we're one of the first to fire customers. If someone comes in and they think their money's greener and they think that they can just start, running all over you and say, oh, well, I want this done here, start demanding things of us, one of our first conversations is maybe we're not a good fit. Right. And letting them go. And in the past, I wouldn't have been able to do that because I'm looking at them and I see a paycheck and I see, well, that's a $50,000 project. Can I really afford to say no to that? I just put up with their bullshit for 3 to 4 weeks. We'll be out of there. It'll be no big deal. But those 3 to 4 weeks, you drag your team through hell.
Right.
Because it doesn't get any better. If they're idiots up front and they're demanding up front, wait till you get to their house. So, Andy, I'd love to jump in here instead of me just talking this whole podcast. I'd love to jump in here and have you talk a bit about your customer experience and how. And I know you haven't gone from like heavy debt to no debt, like you've always been debt free, but how do you approach the customer experience when you don't have the weight of the debt around your neck?
Yeah, I think, again, we talked about the sales thing on a previous episode. And so it starts there, right? But then as far as getting on site, like it comes again with a calmness that I think is probably something that I'm used to, but maybe the customer's not used to, or they don't see that very often. In different conversations and experiences that I've had with, I guess, some of the higher end clientele that I've worked and had the blessing to work, all of the stuff we've been able to do and people we worked for, it's a huge blessing. It's not everywhere that you can find some of that stuff. And again, I've said it before, I would have never thought that it was possible in our area. But anyways, you hear of stories of experiences that customers have with contractors, and it's like mind-blowing. Like the crazy stuff that's gone on. And I think, like I've said it before on my podcast, like it's actually not that hard to be really to be better than other contractors. It's not that hard. It's the little stuff that people care about. And like, I try to never feel like there's times when I'm in a rush, but when it comes to the customer experience, like, I am not in a rush. You cannot be in a rush. They will feel that so fast. And I think that I'm able to calm myself down with the customer. Again, like, and I just think through like my life and how my business is ran, and you start to realize patterns and the way that you carry yourself, and realizing some of the reasons why, right? Well, some of these reasons, I think that I'm able to be as calm as I am, or take the time with the client when they need to talk, or the communication piece is super important. And also, like, another thing I think that is, we don't have like a set podcast on this, but I think this fits here really well, is how I treat my vendors. Because how I treat my vendors and how I'm able to get what I need for my jobs directly comes back to the customer experience. Okay, so I pride myself on having what we need when we need it, whether that be ordering materials, logistics. I think I do a really good job on the logistics side of doing a landscape job. Some of that goes back to, I've spent a lot of time installing on jobs, right? So when I'm selling a job, designing a job, executing on a job, I know what it takes, and I'm thinking 12 steps ahead all the time. I think I do a good job of project management. But at the end of the day, you need to have your vendors that can back that up, right? I am a landscaper. I do not supply stone. I do not supply mulch. I mean, I don't sell it myself, right? So I don't sell pavers. Like, I don't stock them, right? So I need to have good relationships with good vendors to be able to give my customers the best possible experience, right? And that means having the material on the job site when you need it, so that their job continues along in a organized and functional way, where you're not pulling off because you forgot to order something or whatever. And what I'm saying is, it comes back to like having good vendors, but paying your vendors, right? I don't deal with a ton of vendors. I'm pretty loyal to who I deal with, but I've developed relationships with these vendors that everybody scratches each other's backs, right? You want really good service from your vendors, but you think that they're the bank. They're not the bank. And how many contractors have I met, or stories that I've heard, where they have strung their vendor out so far that now they're on COD. They won't give them the service that they need when you need it. I truly believe we get the best service from our vendors because of how I treat them on the back end. And that's because I manage our money well. I don't rob Peter to pay Paul. I don't take the customer's deposit and pay for the last job or whatever. Like, all this stuff comes back on the customer experience, because when I need something quickly, maybe, or I need it by this day, or I need first delivery so that I can be productive on that day, so we don't show up at 10 in the morning. All of this stuff makes a difference. And your vendors will treat you better, because every other contractor is stringing them out. And so why would they want to give service to the person that's not going to pay their bill fast?
That's right.
They're going to give the best service to the people that pay their bills the best, right? And so you have to manage your money well. And us running our company debt-free, I think, really, really plays a role in how we can pay our vendors, which I really believe allows us to give a very good customer service on the install side and the time that we spend on their property. There's just so many stories where we either had a change in the job, and I get asked this all the time. Like, we have, when you do some of these projects that we've been able to do, we do big jobs and we do jobs. I've done jobs this year that are $1,500, and I've done jobs that are well over six figures this year. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm saying, when you get into some of this higher end work, there's going to be a lot of change orders because they want to change things. That's great. I love that. And I have no worries about people doing that. Like, you have to make a system to do that, but then you have to be a flexible contractor, right? And you have to be able to treat them well so that they feel comfortable with doing those change orders, and you make it easy for them, right? If we have something where a client wants to change something, sometimes that means I have to make a material change fast, or maybe we need a little bit more of something fast. So I rely on vendors to be able to give me that service, to get it to me fast or whatever. Like, I am a planner and I try and order early, but this is contracting and stuff changes and your day changes. I could have a perfect day planned out, and it rains for 2 hours in the morning, and now my whole day has changed and we're going to shift over here. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, all of these things that we've talked about in past episodes, and then adding this vendor piece and treating them well and paying them well, it results in a very good customer service, and then being there for the customer when they need you to be, and not being super stressed, and carrying yourself with patience and gratitude, and all of this. It just, I think it creates this, I don't know, it's just how our company runs. We have good equipment now that's paid for and runs well and doesn't break down every 5 seconds. Like, but again, like, it wasn't always like that. Like, I ran and have grown a business up until this year, and I still am technically, I run my company out of shipping containers. Okay. Like, we've done 7-figure landscape jobs out of a company that runs out of shipping containers. The customer doesn't care about that. They care about their experience and how the job looks at the end, and that your truck doesn't leak oil in their driveway. Like that, there is some validity to that. So don't mishear me. Like, we have nicer stuff now. It wasn't always nice, but it was always presentable, right? Okay. Like that's a whole nother podcast. But I'm just saying, like, going back to the lean and mean thing, like, the way we've been able to see lean and mean is by running out of shipping containers. Like, it looks nice. It's not.
Tell me more about that, Andy. I'd love to know more about. You say shipping containers, and my mind goes in a lot of directions. So tell us what that actually means.
Literally, we have a building. Up until this year, we recently just bought 12 acres of commercial land. We're going to put up a building. That's like a side thing. That's fine. But I'm still, to this day, running my company out of 4 shipping containers. I had them in my backyard. I started the company out of my garage, first house that me and my wife bought. And then a year after that, we moved to where we live now. And over the next 3 years after that, I slowly put stone in the backyard and ran the company, and then bought my first shipping container because I needed somewhere to store some equipment.
What's a shipping container cost? I'm curious.
I don't know. I just bought this year I bought my first brand new shipping container. It was like Christmas in August. No, a brand new 20 was like, a 20-footer was like, I think it was like $3,500 or $4,000 brand new. But like, when the pricing goes all over based on the economy and demand. But like a 45-footer, you could get one of those used for $4,000, $5,000, $4,000. Whatever.
So it's your garage then, is what you're using them for? Is that correct?
Yeah. So we keep materials in there. Like now, this year we moved everything from my backyard to our property, and we moved everything over there. So I have a container that's for all hand tools and equipment. I have one for all of supplies, so any kind of job supplies. I have one for like bagged materials, so concrete, fertilizer, seed, those kinds of things. And then I have another one for just some miscellaneous things. And for a while, we used to keep salt in one of them when we were storing our own salt and whatever. So I have ran my company basically for 9 years of the company, and still this year now, out of shipping containers. And we have a building now that is my sister-in-law's, that we poured a concrete floor in it. We use it if we need to work on things in the winter. And so we've been getting by and doing all of these things. And again, all of that has allowed to keep our low overhead low, allow us to stack away cash to invest in things in the business that make money. I don't really think like having a shop truly makes me money. It's a blessing. It's good for the company. It's a good investment. I'm going to build a building on this property, but I'm not looking at the building as it's not going to make me money like excavator makes me money or whatever. It's a different type of money, like long-term kind of a thing, whatever. So I have scratched and clawed and ran my company lean and mean for 10 years, and it's allowed us to do these types of things, but it hasn't affected my customer experience, if I want to bring it back to that. Like, my customers could care less that I run my company out of shipping containers. What they care about is how I treat them, the level of service that we give them, I've had this thing on social media for a while and still get tagged in it, finishing strong. Like, the last day on the job site is the most important day, because you could leave the job site messy, or the little details, like the little footprints on things, blowing off the driveway. Like, I typically, on most decent sized jobs, I have a pressure washing company that I call, and they go and they pressure wash the whole site. I'm not a pressure washing company. I have tried to run my business in a way that we do landscaping. I make money landscaping. I don't change my own oil. I don't service my own equipment. The only thing we do maintenance-wise is we sharpen our own mower blades. I don't even change oil in the mowers. That's not what we do. I am a landscaping and maintenance company. And so I'm also not a pressure washer company. So I call a pressure washer company, and they come in either the day we are there, the last day, or the day after, and they just wash the house. They'll wash the driveway. It looks amazing. Like that last 5% is worth more than everything else, because like I can't tell you how many times it's like if you leave a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth at the end, that's what they remember. Yeah, the job may look nice, but when you were leaving, you dragged your hose across and it brought mulch back out on the paver sidewalk, and you didn't go back and blow it off, right? Well, because when you leave for that job, what's the first thing that they're all doing? They're all walking around looking at what they just spent X amount of dollars on. And then they see that you left a little bit of mulch, or you left some garbage, or you didn't take the tags off the plants. Or it's not so much debt-free side of it. It's just how we run our company. I mean, the debt-free, talking about being able to pay your vendors, like money management, all this stuff. If you are stretched thin, like those things start to suffer. Or you get to the end of the job and you're so stressed about money that you have to get to the next job, and you don't want to take that extra half a day that you really should have spent there. Like literally yesterday, we were on the last day. I thought we were going to finish this job that we had to finish yesterday. I thought we were going to finish it Friday. By like 2:00 on Friday, I'm looking at this. I'm like, could we slam it out? Yeah, maybe. We're not going to slam it out. I've been working for this client for 3 years now in this same job on and off, and it's not going to stop. We're not slamming this in. We're coming back Monday, and we spent the whole day Monday. How did I think I was going to slam that out? I don't know. But in my head, there's always part of me that thinks, I think it just comes like you want to be done. You could go do the next one. No, you have to stop, and you have to treat that client like they are the only client you have right now on that last day. You have to. If you want to have lifelong customers that tell other people, you have to spend that extra last 3 hours that you really don't think you have. You have to. And that goes way back to the estimating side of it. You better plan for that. Like think it's going to take 5, or you think it's going to take 45 days, you better add an extra 3 days on that 45-day job of cleanup. And like on the big jobs is what I'm saying. Like the details are what customers care about most of the time, at least the ones I want to work for and want to pay for what we want to put in and what we want to charge. They're paying for the details, and they're paying for the experience. And you have to deliver on that, or you will bleed through. All of those customers will go away, because if you don't deliver on that, you're done. You get one shot. And I will also say, like some of these bigger jobs, like I'm married to those customers, but I want to be. If we're in a job, like I've been on 2 projects now that it was basically a year-long job. The biggest, I think, like success there was a job that we took literally 8 months. Our whole season was one job. One of my biggest successes of that job is that we were still friends at the end, and we still now are maintenance customers, and it's hopefully years of reoccurring revenue and maintenance. And like, I think that is the biggest success of those types of job, is to be able to get to the end and they want to do more later.
Oh yeah.
It is so hard to do that. It is so hard. And there's a lot of stuff that the internet doesn't see that it takes to do that kind of stuff. But you have to charge for it. I don't know. I could go on for hours about that kind of stuff, but I carry myself in a way, I think that running my company debt-free allows me to carry myself in a way that allows me to retain some of these customers in ways that maybe somebody else couldn't. But I also have good buddies, great friends. Dan Wasson. Well, I just listened to a podcast with Dan Wasson. He owns Wasson Nursery. That guy has grown and scaled an incredible design build company, and he's doing it at scale. It's very hard for me to like figure out how to do what we're doing right now and how to duplicate it into like bigger, because like the customer experience piece is so hard to do it when the owner is not very involved. And so like I look up to Dan and his company and how he's been able to develop these relationships, keep these relationships, maintain these relationships. And he's doing projects that are just year over year, just incredible. I look up to Dan a lot for how he runs his company and has scaled it. It's very hard to scale a design build company and replicate that incredible customer service. It is so hard. So I can't sit here and tell somebody how to do what we're doing and have 3 crews. I don't know, because I haven't done it. So I have no business giving advice on that. I know what we do. I know what I like to do, and it's working for us, and I love it like this. I said before, like, I don't know if I want to have a giant design build company. I don't know if I have it in me. But anyways, I'm talking, just rambling now, but
No, not at all. I mean, what you're talking about, and tell me if I'm wrong, correct me, please, but it's about setting expectations.
oh, for
First and
sure.
foremost, you can't work with a client for 8 months, being on their site most days and develop a relationship with them and then have it at the end where they rehire you to do the maintenance if you're not setting expectations and building trust, right?
Yes,
It,
that's
it,
100%. I
you,
did not say anything about that, but that is what it boils down to.
you have to do it. You have to do it. If you want that kind of result, again, how do you define success? We've talked about that, right? How do you define success in your business? Is it turn and burn as many projects, try to grab as much money as you can before you don't want to do it anymore? Or are you in this for the long haul, looking to do something really big? So
Right.
the way you do that is one by one, setting expectation, deliver. If you can set an expectation of 20 and land it on 20, you're going to be okay. If you set it for 20 and hit 21, better yet. But when you set it for 20 and you get 19 or 18 or 17, well, there's a problem.
That's
She's
right.
not going to be very happy about that. So, and then about trust, each time as men and women, especially in the contracting world, we say something, we give them our word that we're going to do something by saying, hey, I'll have that proposal to you by Thursday. I'll have the design done by Friday. Hey, we'll be there next Tuesday to get started. Your clients take that as truth, right?
Yes, I
And,
do.
and when you set that truth in the best intentions, I like to believe most of the listeners out there do it with the best intention. Like that's really what it looks like right now. Problem is life happens in contracting. Everything happens, right? We already know that there is no straight line to a logic for how, you're hitting a stump or finding concrete underground or a machine breaking or things taking longer, your extra Monday in order to clean up and make sure that first project was taken care of before you move on to the second. Those things that's just part of being in our world. But here, this is the important part. And this is really what I'm going to get to with the truth side of things. When a client takes your word as truth and you constantly deliver on it, hey, I'll have the proposal by Friday, and Friday it's in their inbox. You have the design done by next Thursday, and next Thursday you're sitting at their house presenting that design or earlier. That's how you build truth. You constantly build trust, and they believe your word is truth, right? That's really what it is. And so, okay, if we can continue on that realm, if we can continue to say something and do it, say something, deliver and do it on a time frame, you then build this really unshakable trust with clients. Now, for
That's
some
right.
clients, it's numbers only, right? That's just going to be what it is. It's a small part of our clientele. But for most that are coming in for higher ticket outdoor living spaces, they're really looking for a relationship. And a relationship is built on trust, right?
That's right.
So if we say something and keep doing it, we're building trust. All it takes, Andy, I don't have to explain this to you, I'm just saying this to the listeners. All it takes is you to set an expectation for a client, building trust. Hey, I'll have that design done for you next Thursday. Mrs. Jones is excited, man. She's only done this once in her life. She can't wait to have this backyard done. Her and her husband are elated to have the grandkids back over. Next Thursday starts this journey. They've been waiting for 60 years to do this. And next Thursday comes and goes, and nobody reaches out to Mrs. Jones. Nobody tells her things are late. She checks her inbox before she goes to bed, and she's thinking, man, maybe they just ran late today. And nothing happens. And then she says, okay, well, people get busy. She'll make excuses and try to, justify the position. She liked you when she talked to you, right? And everything seemed good. You seem like the right partner for her in this project. And then Friday comes and you're like, she goes all day Friday with a hope that she was going to make the right decision. And Friday comes and goes and no email, no design, no next steps, none of that stuff. Now she starts doubting herself. She starts thinking, why was I so knowing this was the right person to work with on this project, and now they've given me no evidence to provide that. Maybe before there was, but now there's no way to get that back. She says, okay, well, they broke trust. They didn't call. If they would have texted and said, man, I'm running late, it's going to be Monday. Perfect. Okay, cool. Life happens. But when nothing comes and you now break her heart, whether you know it or not, you're breaking your trust. Now, how does she, if you were dating somebody and they said they'd be out to dinner by 7:00 and they don't show up for 2 days, what does that mean? Like, this is very similar. You're building a relationship. So the guys that are chasing high volume that don't really care about their word are saying yes to everybody. This is the kind of destructive path you're leaving in your wake versus slowing it down. Like when you started the episode, slowing it down, saying we're going to build relationships, not just revenue. Revenue is a byproduct of that relationship. It's
Mm-hmm.
a way to solve that problem for Mrs. Jones by understanding her problem first. Clients don't care about the solutions you have, listeners. They don't care about those. What they care about is knowing that you deeply understand their problem. And if you're the guy or girl that deeply understands their problem, comes up with a solution, and can keep the trust in line, expectations set and achieved down through, it is a clear golden road to the project. But it's when those things, that chain is broken because you overpromise and underdeliver, that's when things start to fall apart. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you start guessing if somebody said, I'll have it to you by Thursday, and it doesn't happen and they don't contact you? And we've all had that happen.
Yep.
I know I've had it happen on many different levels. And I'm like, well, you know what? They must be a great salesperson, because I was really all bought in. I said, you know what, Josh's gonna be a great guy to work with, or whatever. And next thing you know, you're working with him, and it's like, and then he just doesn't deliver. Oh, great. And then so you
Right.
start breaking truck. And that's a wrecking ball through that entire relationship. And now they doubt everything you say. So listeners, if that sounds like you, if you're the kind of person that wants to please people, I'm a recovering people pleaser, Andy. So, I used to want everybody to be happy and love me and all that stuff. So I'd say yes to everybody. And then I'd find myself overwhelmed because I had 14 yeses in only 10 days. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't know how all these things are going to fit together, but eventually you work on what's called yes management as an owner. And that's something as you mature and grow, that's what you have to learn. But at the end of the day, I would rather speak to less clients and be focused on building a relationship, building that customer experience, because I know that those clients become raving fans, and raving fans sell tons more work for you. So you don't have to spend so much on your advertising, i.e. keeping your overhead low. Now, I'm not saying cut your advertising off, but imagine if you just had a constant stream of leads from prior clients. I'm sure
Right.
Andy feels that. I'm sure others out there listening are like, I love when I get a referral, because they're already warm client. They already love what we do. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what their problem is, not a solution. Their problem is first, to see how we can help them. So I encourage everyone listening out there that if customer experience isn't top of your focus, and it's a volume thing, that you might be wasting a lot of time. Andy, the average closing rate in our industry is 20 to 30%. So if you went out to 10 projects, on average, most listeners would bring home 2 or 3. So that sounds normal, right? That's what everybody does. I ask bigger questions, and I say, what would life be like if I could bring home 7 or 8 or 9 of those? Hell, even 10. Like, what is life like? So if I'm saying no to my family, the soccer practice, the big game, the dance recital, because I'm chasing all these leads, if I'm saying no to my family to say yes to my clients, and I have nothing when I come home that night because it's one of the 7 I didn't close, how do I feel? Is that trade worth it? That's the bigger thing. Is that trade worth it when you know you only have 18 years before your kids are out of your house and your influence is now dramatically reduced? Do you want that to be on your conscience? The fact you chased all those without just saying, hey, maybe I just need a different way, a different process, a different focus. If I focused on relationship and transformation over transaction, how would that change the way I approach my business? That's a question. Everyone has the opportunity to do it or not do it. But that's the question that I asked. And eventually we got to that 7, 8, 9 out of 10 leads. It's like, okay, cool. So every time we go out, effectively, we're bringing home a project, or we're not going out. It's that simple, right? And now we talk about being efficient with monies all the time in business. What about being efficient with your time? That means something. It's your most precious asset you have. No one knows how much they have. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So slowing things down, focusing on that customer experience, it could change your entire business. Andy, do you have anything else you want to throw in on that before we finish up?
I agree with everything you just said. One thing I was thinking about, I don't know if when it fits here, but I think something that has improved on some of our customer experiences, I don't know, what about, and I was thinking through when you were talking about time and family time and keeping all those kinds of things in perspective. We quit working Saturdays during COVID, and that was something that me and my wife discussed. We wanted to be home more. I needed to be home more. I had been years of 6 days a week, always thinking that, Saturday is the next day we need to, no matter what, we're working Saturday, right? It's just the landscaper's dream. It's just working 6 days a week or however many days you want to work. But something that we did was we quit working Saturdays. And ever since then, we've never lost money because of quitting working Saturdays. I think our company as a whole is more efficient. I think that the guys are more rested. I know it maybe wouldn't seem like it's a customer experience thing, but I really think it is, because when we're there, we're productive. We're
Yeah.
getting things done. They have the weekend. Not everybody cares about that, but some people do, right? We're not doing stuff there all Saturday. I don't know. I just, when you brought that up about family time, and then of course a byproduct of that is everybody that works here, including myself, has more family time,
Yeah.
right? Which improves my attitude, it improves my quality of life. It's obviously better for my kids and my family, including everybody else's kids and family. We're not going to work Saturdays again. I mean, I might do stuff that I enjoy doing in work. I don't go to work. I go to what I do. It's not, I don't consider it work to me.
Same here. Yeah.
Like, I could literally go and play around in the yard and do what I do, and I wouldn't feel like I go to work. But my wife, my kids, my team's kids, none of them love it like I love it. And that's fine. They don't need to, right? They want me home. My family wants me home. My team's family want them home. All of that stuff, it all plays into it. And I don't need to work Saturdays because we run our company debt free. I don't need that extra, what I think is extra income coming in the door, even though we're all heavy overtime at that point anyway. It's like, I'm telling you, like, we don't make any less money and we work less.
Yeah.
Like, and somebody will argue that about the 4-day work week, whatever. We don't do that right now, whatever. I'm just saying, like, quality of life, customer experience, your company morale, all of these things play a part in the quality of your company and again, back to the customer experience. But I really believe some of these things we're able to do is because I've chosen to run the company debt free. I really do. I think I would be more of a slave to the finances, more of a slave. Look, Dave Ramsey, slave to the lender, right? We got to work Saturday. We got to get as many hours as we need to get done. We only have X amount of billable hours in the year. I have these amount of bills coming in. We need this. We need that. Well, life is short, man. My dad died suddenly when he was 60, and I'm telling you, like, you don't know how many days you have in this world, and I'm never gonna sit on my deathbed and say I wished I worked more. I'm just not, and neither is anybody that works for me, and I don't expect them to.
Yep.
So
100%, dude.
I don't know.
I love that. So good.
Yeah.
What a great closing. So thank you, Andy, for coming back. Today we focused on how the customer experience is impacted by running your company debt free. Also relationships, the fact that if you're running high volume, the relationships are going to suffer, right? So now, that's just a product of the environment. The question is it worth it? Is it worth it? And if it is, then keep going. But my philosophy is that I'd rather slow it down and get to know my clients so that they can continue to help become raving fans of our entire company and our mission. But we can't do that if they don't feel us, right? If they don't know who we are, if we don't build a relationship with them. And that's a two-way street. And also, can you run more flexible with your business, become more flexible, in that customer experience, spending more time with them. So everyone, thank you for listening. Andy, thanks for coming back on. And next week, guys, we're going to focus on, I'm actually shifting this. I had a different plan in mind for what we were going to talk about next week, but it's come to my heart after the last few weeks of talking to you, Andy, is I want to get into delegation with you. I want to get into how you delegate. You talked about you don't change oil, you don't power wash, you don't do these different things in other episodes. And for so many out there listening, they're like, well, of course I'm going to take care of those things. That's what I do. But I love how you've made a very clear line of what you do and don't do. So I'd love to get deeper into that. So next week, we're going to talk about how a debt-free company runs on delegation, or runs delegation when they could do it in-house to save money, but they choose not to. So guys, can't wait to talk to you next week. And Andy, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you.